What's up, gamers? It's me again, and today I've got an exciting video for you. Today we're gonna be figuring out what ratios are best for Pilk. If you're not familiar with Pilk, it stands for Pepsi Milk. Pepsi Milk. So it's a combination of Pepsi and milk. So I already got a kind of guide plan written out here of different ratios, and we're gonna do it by weight. All right. So I need containers for this, don't I? Let me get 2 mason jars. Wait, no, I should probably do 3. 2 mason jars. That's all I need, actually. And I'm gonna get my... Holy shit. This scale is dirty. So, the first thing we need to do in the scientific method is see how much milk... how much weight of milk will fill up this container. So, we're going with the Great Value brand whole milk, because I don't know, so we're in grams. So how much milk goes in a mason jar? Oh Lord, damn, almost this whole fucking half gallon. I'm gonna call that full. We're gonna call it 900 grams. Alright, and we're just gonna use this because it's full. So I guess I have to make pancakes or something in the morning. I don't ever use milk. So we're gonna write that down. 1 mason jar, 900 grams of milk. Alright. So let's start with 90% milk, right? So this requires us to do some math. What is 90% of 900? Well, 10% is 90, so 810 grams of milk. Why am I using a whole mason jar? This is going to waste so much. Hang on. We're doing this wrong. We're going to use little baby mason jars. I think I got them somewhere. Maybe. Yes. I got these little ones. And of course I have to use another one to measure out the milk. Let's take off the lid. Take off this lid while we're here. Now we're gonna see. There's actually a good chance to see how good this pours. It doesn't pour half bad. I'll call that full. 200 grams. So let's turn that 9 into a 2. 200 grams of milk. Alright. So now we want 90% of 200. 90% of 200 grams is 180 grams. So we're going to go ahead and pour about 180 grams into here. Come on. A little bit more. 180 grams. So this is about how much Pepsi we're going to be putting in there. I don't think the Pepsi... What the fuck? I don't think the Pepsi flavor is going to be very strong. Where is it at? Pepsi. So I got these little bottles just because I bought this like an hour ago. So I put it in the freezer. The little bottles will cool down faster. So now we're just going to fill it up to about where the milk was. Or you know what? We'll fill it up to 200 grams. Oh, that's a little bit more. And now we need something to stir it with. I have just the tool. We're going to use my wife's miscarriage spoon. Give it a little stir. And then I can use one of these to rest it on. So we're going to give this a taste test. Alright. It tastes like milk, but you can tell something's wrong with it. Not very good. Not enough pee. Not enough pee. Alright. So, you know what? This is going to be our jungle juice jar. So I don't want to just throw away perfectly good fucking Pilk. Alright. So now 80% of 200 is 160. Here we go. That's about 160 grams of milk. Now we're going to put in about 40 grams of a Pepsi. That'll do it. Now this is notably darker because there's more Pepsi in it. Compare the colors of these two. It's a little darker. We're gonna cheers. That one, that's actually pretty good flavor. It tastes almost like a spiced milk, like if you've ever had horchata. So, horchata. And to be honest, I suspect 75% milk is going to be much the same. I'll have another sip of this. We're approaching very good Pilk territory. So 75% is 3/4. So 100 grams is 50%. So we're looking for 150 grams of milk. Alright, that's 146. That was like 8 grams? Whatever. So we're going to put in 50 grams of Pilk, or Pepsi. There we go. I don't suspect this will be much different. But our next jump is going to be down to 50%, and I think that's ideal Pilk. I think somewhere between 50 and 75% will be ideal Pilk territory. That's, I would say, better than 80%. Better than 80%. Pour this into the jungle juice jar. Now, the jungle juice jar is probably going to end up being about 50% at the end of the day. So now we're going to 50%, which is just 100 grams of milk, which should be about half this container. Alright, close enough. And then 100 grams of this. Or you know what, it was 106, so we're going to go for 212. Which should fit. Whoop. There we go. The scale isn't very accurate anyway. This one is very foamy. You seeing that? It's getting a nice foamy texture going on. Which, I don't know if that's good or bad. Huh. So it's very frothy, but it's also thin because you're diluting whole milk by 50%. So, like I think probably 60% will be ideal for flavor, but I could drink this. I like it, but I think it's a little too thin. So I think 75% might be my favorite so far. Thin and foamy. Alright, discard this. Alright, and at the end we're going to take a sip of the jungle juice. Well, I don't think I'll be able to fit all of it in there, because this is whatever. So now we're going to 25%, which is only 50 grams of milk. So we're going to shoot that in there. That's 21 grams. And come on, that's 50. Then we're going to put in 150 grams of Pepsi. Oh, this might be just enough. Oh, it is foaming over. Tragedy is about to strike. It's a solid, like, 1/16 of an inch over the lip of the container. It's very frothy. I'm going to try and quell the froth. It might be perfect. It might be like a root beer float. Come on, give me just a little more. I should have used flat Pepsi for this, because it wouldn't foam as much. That is some big head. Look at that head. There's about that much head. You can't see from the top. And I don't want to move my camera because it's tedious as hell to set up. So this Pepsi's about done. So, did I get fucking milk on the paper? Gross. So, let's take a sip of this. We're at 25% milk. It's foamy as hell. I haven't mixed it in enough because there's a dark spot in the top. Delicious. Alright. Down the hatch. Now we're getting a little more Pepsi than milk. I think that could be a good percentage if you use like a vanilla creamer. Then it's kind of like a root beer float. But that's not bad. I think I like it more than 50% because it's really frothy. So it kind of takes away from that thinness. Also, look at the color. You can kind of see it. It's like gray. It's pretty good. I don't hate it at all. So then we're on to our last heat, if you will. I'm gonna have to crack open another Pepsi. But we should have enough milk, so I'm going to go ahead and start with milk. 10% of 200 is 20. Oh, shit. Let me pour a little bit back. I have contaminated. That's close enough, 204. Good thing I had 2 little Pepsi bottles. So now we got to pour 180 grams of this. It's excited. It's foaming up. This is getting real frothy. Oh, it's coming all... Oh. Don't spill over, please. Now what? Do we just wait here? Give it a stir. So right now we're at about... I don't know. A little... I don't know. About 20%. We're probably a little more Pepsi than 25%. I can't just pour this foam off because the foam contains Pilk. It'll mess up the ratio if I just pour it off. Now maybe there's a better way to be pouring this so I don't get so much head. But look at that. It is like a thick... like foam. It's the same reaction you get when you're making a root beer float. And it's maybe it's just dairy and soda. Maybe proteins from the dairy just hold the foam from the carbon dioxide in the soda. This one might be. I should get a bigger jar, and then just do the same weight. We ball. We got this. It's carving a hole. This is thick, dude. Look at that. It's like it's a solid inch over the lip of the container. Come on. This is foreboding. Hey, maybe you like the froth. Maybe that's part of the appeal of the Pilk. Just a little more Pepsi. Alright, there we go. So we're at about 10% milk to Pepsi ratio. Oh, good grievous, dude. So, looking at the side of it, it's like starting to separate and curdle, which is what you do when you add acid to milk. Let's do a foam test. That is just Pepsi foam, but it's thicker because of the proteins in the milk, I suppose. Alright, let's take a sip. Can you see that on the side? Try and get my telephone to focus on it. You can kind of see it percolating. It's not noticeable on the palate, but it's not fun to look at. So I want to put this in here. There. Alright. So, at the end of the day, who won? Nobody. This is just Pepsi with structure. So, I'm going to say the best Pilk ratio is 75%. 50% is it's not so much Pepsi to where it gets frothy down here, but it's doing something to my stomach, I'll tell you that. But there's enough milk to where it's kind of foamy, but it's not as structured as some of the lower percentages. And then at 90%, it's just fucking milk, dude. It's just milk with something wrong with it. So, I want to show you how to make Pilk the way I like to make it. I like to garnish my Pilk with some cheddar cheese and an apple slice. So, we're going to use the best ratio, which is 75%. I have to get milk out of the fridge because I contaminated that milk. So 25% is 50, so we need 150 grams of milk. I should probably do a little less to fit. I'll take a sip off the top when we get to it, so that I can fit in the garnish. A little bit more. Because see, this isn't so much acid that it's going to start curdling. I'm sure if you leave it overnight, it may. Let me take some off the top. That's quite good. Like, unironically, this video is like high-key satire, but that is pretty good, and you should try it. So now, we're going to put my favorite garnish. Some cheese and a slice of apple. And we're We're going to be cutting it with my Gerber Kemp axe because I don't know where any of the knives went in this house. But this should do fine. It's got a good edge on it. It cuts wood like a mother fricker. So, god damn. I'm just going to try to take a wedge out of this apple without taking a wedge out of the counter. It's just like once it starts going. So, normally I like to do a wedge, but maybe today, no, we're not going to try anything new. So, just try and carve out the core. And then, you want just a thin, I like to put 3 or 4 little slices like that directly into the Pilk. We're going to do 3 just because this thing is god awful. And you get your little apple snack. And then our cheese, I'm just going to cut a cube. And then that cube, we're going to try and cut it along its strongest bias, which would be like right here. And then I like to just rub that along the rim so you get a nice little cheesy aroma every time you swig. And that is how you make Pilk like a true Hoosier. Oh yeah, that's good. So that's it for today. I showed you how to make the best Pilk in the world. Go Colts. Yeah.